Yo, what's happening, world? Name's Raheem Flowers, and I just got through watching that interview with Jay-Z on CNN where he referred to Donald Trump as a superbug. Now, I'll tell you the parts where I agreed with him and where I didn't agree with him, where I disagreed. All right, part where I disagree with Jay-Z when he was regarding women and the treatment that they get in the office, even though I got where he was coming from. I didn't agree with him because he was talking about, you know, women, they get treated and exploited in the office sexually, you know, all the sexual harassment treatment. But although that may be true, you have to look at it on the other side of the spectrum. Women have their own authority that they abuse within these offices. For example, they'll be quick to say that a man is portraying sexual harassment, or they'll even try to get a man fired. Say if they got a sexual affair going on, they use their pussy as power in the office, even to get promoted. It's not even like they're victims all the time. Nah, women have a higher employment rate than men. And you being a black man, you would think that Jay would be concerned about the livelihood, the well-being of black men coming up in the future, the world. You see, we have to look at all sides of the spectrum. Jay, you can't just acknowledge one thing and then sidestep the other. So yeah, I do get that men who are in high positions, whether they be a white man, whether they be a black man, whether they be an Arab, whether they be a Chinaman, a Jew, etc. And we're going to get into the Chinaman a little later. But they do abuse that power. They do have those ego trips, and they know it's easier to control a woman. So that's what I got to say in regards to women's place in the world. Now, in addition to that, also do want to talk about where Jay-Z said that it ain't all about money. Really, Jay-Z, Mr. Sean Carter, it's not all about money when it comes to you. Your whole career, you've let it be known that it's all about money. Ain't a soul in your body. Come on, dude. You should be the last person saying some ridiculous shit like that. It ain't about money. And then as far as the overall treatment that you give people that you've worked with, look at Dame Dash. Look at Cameron and what happened to the whole Rockefeller regime. How about we decide to look at what's happening with who regarded you as his big brother, Kanye West, and where you guys stand? Yes, we know that Kanye has a fucked up ego, but it doesn't alleviate from the fact that he was saying a lot of truth when he went on his daily rants during his performances. Yup. So my thing is this. Jay-Z, you made 444 where you spoke about black empowerment and economic and generational wealth. You did it at an impeccable time though, where this renaissance of Afrocentricity is going on, where everybody wants to be woke. You wanted to sell people off of that. The same way T.I., Clifford Harris, decided to sell people with that notion when he started to talk about that in his recent project. You decided to hop on that bandwagon, Jay-Z, because you knew that it was going to make that moolah. Don't tell me that it ain't all about money. Fuck out of here. When you have the history and the track record that you have, even currently, we ain't even just talking about yesteryear or the early 2000s. We can narrow it down to the late 2010s. All right, but before I sound like I'm going on a long ass diatribe towards Sean Carter, I'm gonna talk about where I did agree with him when he was using the analogy with the garbage and spraying perfume / cologne or air freshener on it. when in reference to Donald Trump and calling him a superbug, because a lot of people have to understand racism was never over out the gate. All they did was become more innovative about it. They become crafty, way more crafty about their racism, which is to the point where it's covert racism, where you see a lot of people, such as a platform like CNN, who would exude all these white liberal rhetorics. You know, the Lyndon B. Johnson ass white motherfuckers. So you have the twin-headed snakes, which is the conservative, who would typically be the more apathetic and or overt racist. And then you have the white liberals, who are the more pseudo-sympathetic, covert racists, who will compensate black people by giving them things like public housing and food stamps. What did Nas say on DJ Khaled's song? Nas' album's done. He said, "We get government aid, and you know, we get things that are compensated by the government, but we don't get things that will empower us as a people. We get things where we depend on others." That's basically what Nas was saying. To put other kids, to put people's children in schools. You get me? And that's what's been going on. That has been the pattern of American society. Shit. But before I I don't want to go out of the stratosphere of what I'm talking about. But yeah, Jay, you know what you stand for, and you know what you want in this world. So I take what Jay says with a grain of salt on that. Now, I did like that he did bring up Donald Sterling and referencing how, okay, it's good that you called Donald Sterling out. It's good that he got some sort of punishment for what he did, what he said and what he did. He got a penalty for it. But that's not solving the problem. You could have kept him as being the coach, but he still would have to answer for it, like Jay-Z conceded to. But we need to talk about it. We need to get down to the nitty-gritty and do something about it, more than just firing him, because that's not going to see. The powers that be want to save face. My thing is this: race, religion, and then we got transhumanism. These are the government, the powers that be just want to use whatever's going to help them maintain power. Race just happens to be that thing, because religion is becoming more obsolete. People are becoming way less religious in 2018. Come on now, you know these are facts. That's right. And, you know, it makes me want to move on to my next topic, since we're on the subject of talking about a hip-hop artist, and we want to talk about any form of freedom or prejudice. Let's talk about the Chinaman. Now, I thought about what was going on when they said that China wants to ban hip-hop. I was scratching my head, and I said, damn, how you want to ban a whole genre and a whole culture? But then I had to remember, this is the Chinaman. China's never given a fuck about freedom and human values, because they're concerned about protecting an image. I mean, just look at the history of Maoism, or any other history of communism for that matter, but more specifically Maoism, when Mao Zedong was running shit. Well, it looks like that never left their system. But in all seriousness, though, they understand the type of influence / power that hip-hop has over people. And They don't want that to, they don't want to feel like they're diluting their own personal and cultural values for something that wasn't even originally theirs. But the Chinaman understands that though. See, white people in the West, they want to abuse that authority, but then they don't even realize paradoxically enough that that's not even for them. And it, to be honest with you, it ultimately wouldn't even be in white people's favor. But then I got to think about the Jews who are in office and running shit and making laws and are the gatekeepers of, and pretty much give the green light go ahead on what society's gonna be like. Right? The Chinaman knows the type of power that these rappers have. Even Farrakhan said that thousands of speeches that he makes couldn't even amount to a few rap concerts and music and albums that are put out. Something to that effect. Yeah, hip hop has a huge amount of power in the world. Now, I'll say this. Hip hop is not inherently good or bad. Just like anything else in this world isn't inherently good or bad. It's what you do with it. Unfortunately, people use their powers for evil because people are too stuck on ego. People are too stuck on just them, self. That's what social media has shown you. And now it's getting to the point where we're falling into the lines of transhumanism. Does anybody ever remember this? When Obama was playing with a robot that came from, of all places, in Japan. Since we want to talk about Asians, let's talk about Japan and the robots that are being created, the androids. Now we have to start to think more about transhumanism. Now we could check religion off the list as far as being able to take over the masses and being empowered by that. I'm talking about the powers that be. And then soon enough, race, as far as racism goes, that's going to become obsolete. And what's going to be important is transhumanism and worrying about cyborgs and being concerned about all these robots that are coming up in the world. I mean, it's getting to the point now where people are desiring sex robots. You hearing people on the internet, I'm seeing niggas on Instagram dry humping sex robots and talking about how women are fixing to be replaced. I mean, that goes to show you where people's mind state is at. If people had the wherewithal to go ahead and get these thought bots, then women will easily be replaced. And the government knows they're all about population control because, hey, if everybody came together, they couldn't divide one. And in addition to that, they know that the more people, there's always power in numbers. But if you can find ways to maintain that power, boom, you can find ways to make sure that people will never think about going against them again. How and what do I mean by that? I'm talking about the thought bots they're implementing. Something that one of the 7 deadly sins, which is lust. This is what men will lust for. Why wouldn't you want a robot who would obey your every command and you could get a nut off? And then you don't have to think about the prospect of taking care of children. Shit. Look, I know that I'm about to say something. I'm about to go left what I'm about to say, but let's be honest. If black men could afford this would be so convenient. This would be convenient to all men. but I say especially black men because, well, it's black men who typically have to deal with the prospect of child support and all these stigmas that have been placed upon black men because of media and because of personal choices that have been made. You know? And black men are going to be the first in line to be set as an example for the powers that be. But just know, after black men, it's gonna be white men too. It's gonna be the Chinaman. It's gonna be Arabs. It's gonna be everybody. You know. So this is a scary sight. This is fascinating. This is intriguing from a scientific standpoint, from an innovative place, but from a place of thinking about the future. Man, this is the type of stuff that iRobot was telling you about. This is the type of stuff that you can get from Futurama. You could think about from Rick and Morty. I mean, damn. Yep. They already have these sex bots out here in Japan, and they're already making them here in the West. So these are possibilities that you're gonna have to rule out and think about. Yep. Shit. I'm just thinking about all these things that's going on. Ain't sitting well. I think that's all I gotta say right now, man. I'm out, everybody. Peace.